Feel free to go ahead and start whenever you're ready.
All right, Vince, how are you doing right now? Obviously, even just today has been, I'm sure, whiplash for you, let alone 82 days of it. Are you doing okay?
Yeah, no, I'm good. I mean, it was a dream of mine to play Big Brother, and I got to do it. So it's funny, near the end of the last few days, I was like getting more sad. I was like, I don't want this to end. I don't want this to end. I don't want to leave the house. It's like it became your safe space. So I'm good. It's I got the full experience, and that's all I hoped for.
Well, let's talk about how that full experience ended. I wouldn't say you were necessarily like devastated when you found out that Morgan was going, knowing that you were going to the final two against Ashley. What did you think your chances were going in? And did those expectations change as the jury questions and responses went along?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, all I know is my own game and my own perception of my game. And I didn't know anything that the jury was thinking. I didn't know Ashley's game because we hadn't worked super close throughout the season. I knew Morgan's game. Morgan played an unbelievably good game. I mean, she was a front runner to win this thing all the way through. Incredible. So I felt like I would have lost against Morgan. I thought I had better odds against Ashley just because I didn't know her game as well. But as soon as she started speaking and she speaks so well, and I saw the jury reactions, I started to think, yep, I think my dream management might have shot myself in the foot with this one. So here goes nothing.
Were there any votes that surprised you one way or the other at the end of the day?
I was kind of surprised Lauren didn't give me a vote, but I think because I put her on the block, she was probably pretty upset about that. So I don't blame her.
So you found out a little bit from Ashley that Morgan had told her that she would have taken her to the final two had she won. Morgan did confirm this to Julie after she was evicted. What's your reaction to that? Because I know that, you were certainly kind of preparing for the worst case scenario, even though she hadn't necessarily told you. So what are your thoughts about that? And would you have voted for her if she evicted you?
Wait, so Morgan was planning on taking Ashley?
Yeah.
Yeah. I figured I never got confirmation, but I would have still voted for Morgan for sure. I know she had to do what was best for her game, and I know what this game meant to her too. So you know what? If I'm the one saying all's fair in the Big Brother house, then if somebody does it to me, who am I to complain about it?
Well, let's talk a bit more about your game because there was so much to it, Vince. And I mean, I want to speak to one of the perceptions that the jury had, and I would say some of the fandom had as well, which was it did feel like sometimes, you would utilize your emotions to be able to get people to do what you want. And that was something that you denied, of course, in the jury speech. And are you still denying it now? Do you feel like you didn't necessarily utilize your emotions in the game to that ability?
No, I mean it's a reality. I didn't think I was going to be that emotional going into it, but I felt strongly, and when I spoke passionately, I don't know. I can't fake cry. I can't make those up. I can't create that and fabricate that. So when I spoke, I was just speaking passionately, and I don't know. I didn't know the perception of that, but I mean, I just played the best game I could, and that's some tears happen to have fallen from my eyes, I guess.
Well, one of the things that you did say in the heat of the moment consistently was, you felt that Ashley didn't deserve to be there, that you felt like, you had done more than her. So talk to me a bit more about that mentality and how did it feel then ultimately to find out all the stuff that she was doing in the final two?
I mean, she played a way better game than I was aware of. And that's my hat off to her because that was a very under the radar game. I was unaware of what she did. So all I have is my perception of what I thought she had done up to that point. I had no idea the social aspects of her game. So when she started talking, I became a fan of her and I was looking at her, I was like, yeah, all right, fair enough.
Well, you talked in your preseason interview about how your strategy going in was wing it, then adapt, wing, adapt, wing, adapt. And for what it's worth, you pulled that off. Did you ever think about possibly deviating from that, especially knowing that like there seemed to be multiple times where people would come to you, right, being like, "Why did you just cast that vote to evict?" And it was consistent damage control week after week.
Yeah. I did not expect my social game to revolve around damage control. The winging it and then adapting seemed to have worked, I guess, to a second place finish. I wish I had when you're living it and you're in it, it's so hard to like get a grasp on things sometimes. Like the game moves so fast and then worst case scenario happens. You're like, well, the blockbuster is here and there's three nominees, so you don't know who's going to be on the block or not, and you want to tell them this, and it just catches up to you. It's a very tough game to navigate.
Did you ever think about maybe trying to course correct, considering all the alliances you had to try to winnow it down? Considering that as you sort of mentioned, it's this idea where if you're an ally to everyone, you're kind of an ally to no one.
Yeah, I definitely thought about it. I'm not sure I knew how to go about it. But clearly, yeah, in hindsight, probably should have adapted in a more productive way.
Well, let's get into some of these relationships, and we'll start with one of your number ones in the form of Lauren. So I'm curious, what was ultimately the argument that had you deciding to put her up? And also, if you had gone down to the final three with her and Morgan like you had wanted, would you have taken her to final two over Morgan?
That's a great question. Lauren, I'm sorry, what was the first half of that question?
Well, what was it? What ultimately made you decide to put Lauren up?
Oh, that's right. That's right. So it's funny because it ended up having the opposite effect because I was thinking jury management, the judges alliance. Rachel's in the jury, Will's in the jury. I didn't know if Ashley or Morgan would end up in the jury. And those are three people who would want me to honor an alliance. Whereas Lauren, I thought if I could guarantee the votes to make sure she stays, she touches the block, we make the house happy, she's not having this perfect season, and then she'll forgive me, hopefully, and we can move forward from there as long as I guarantee she's safe. I thought that that was a fair play, but yeah, I just felt bad about that's one of my biggest. I feel really bad about that one that move. I never ever would have wanted to do that to her, and to this day, I'm like, dang.
Yeah, I'm not letting you off the hook though on that second part. If you had gone to the final
Oh,
three with Morgan and Lauren, who would you have taken to the final two?
oh, that's a great question, and I think this was my problem here. I would hope for things or set myself up for things and assume it would never actually happen. But then scenarios did happen over and over and over, and I would have to make these public decisions where people would know what I did. So what would I do? I really think it would be a game time decision. I don't know. I think Morgan had my back more proactively. And as the game went on, I saw how much Morgan actually cared about me as an ally. And so I like to think Morgan would have been my go to. But Lauren was a great ally too, and she was a very strong competitor. So game time decision. I don't know if that's a cheap out, but I'm telling you, I was winging it and adapting. So that was another scenario where I was just gonna wing it. I don't know.
Well, let's get into the Morgan of it all because it does seem, especially after Zach left, you two grew closer, both strategically
Sure.
and personally. Talk to me more about your relationship and, the complications that were certainly involved during all those, sleepless nights in the second half of the game.
Yeah, I mean, she has a strong opinions. I had strong opinions about the game, especially about using the veto and the Lauren nomination. I didn't want her to use it. So I feel like our communication was good. We were still strong allies one way or the other. And I enjoyed playing the game with her because she was a very strong competitor. She was a very loyal ally, and she was somebody who would have your back no matter what. So I'm happy to have played with her. She's an awesome person. And yeah, I think she played an incredible game.
I know you had a lot of trepidation in the moment about the way your relationship with Morgan was perceived. Do you have any sort of expectations or anticipation of what the, outside world is going to look like when you step back into the real world?
I'm not sure. I mean, I guess it's tough because it's a unique environment and nobody knows the platonic relationship between Morgan and I outside of us two. Nobody knows the relationship romantically between my girlfriend and I outside of the game. But I know my girlfriend and I know the boundaries we set before I entered the house, and I lived a Big Brother dream, and yeah, not too worried about any of that stuff.
I want to finish by talking about, during these moments of emotionality, as you mentioned, there were a lot of moments, Vince, where you did a lot of like, I don't know, self-deprecation, right? You would say things like, okay, this is why I'm such a screw up. This always happens to me. I think
Uh,
you said something along the lines of like, what value do I bring to people's lives? I mean, I'm really
oh
curious
gosh.
because those were incredibly, personal moments. Do you
Yeah.
feel like, you played to the spirit of who you are as a person? And does your performance then reflect upon that?
No, I mean, I didn't use any personal stories or any self-deprecation as strategy. It's crazy because you're living with these people and you're going to open up. And I'm a pretty private person typically, and I'm an introverted person. So being in that environment and you have nothing else to talk about or do other than open up to each other, yeah, maybe I'm hard on myself sometimes. I think that's something I've been working on a lot as I grow as a person, and it's an ongoing process. I love myself. I don't hate myself. I just am hard on myself.
No, that I think means a lot, just because again, and no one wants to necessarily see anyone suffer in the
No,
Big
of
Brother
course.
house. And to your point, like you succeeded a good amount, and you certainly made a lot of fantastic TV and fantastic moments for us all with the wing and adapt and winning adapt. So thank you for winging it with me today,
Of
Vince. I know
course.
obviously this has been a whirlwind experience to say the least, let alone everything you're going to jump into when it comes to getting back into the real world. But I really
Of course.
appreciate you stopping down and being so open and candid with me about everything.
Of course, man. Anytime.
All right. Well, all the best to you and yours. Have a great night. Thanks so much
Thanks
again,
so much.
Vince.
Take care.
Bye bye.